Welcome to this lesson to help you learn English with the news. We're going to read a news article together, and you're going to learn a lot of advanced grammar, natural vocabulary, correct sentence structure, and even correct pronunciation directly from reading this article with me. Of course, I'm Jennifer from JForrestEnglish.com, and this is your place to become a fluent, confident English speaker. Let's get started. Welcome to our article. Today we're talking about Rihanna, and we're talking about her performing during the Super Bowl. Did you watch the Super Bowl? Now, at the time of recording this video, the Super Bowl and Rihanna's performance is in the future, but when you watch this video, it will be in the past. So did you watch the Super Bowl? Did you see Rihanna's performance? Let us know in the comments. First, I want to clarify that the Super Bowl is the final competition for football. Now, when I say football, I'm talking about, of course, American football. Just in case there's any doubt, here's American football. I included this at the very end of the article because in North America, we refer to football, which is American football, and then we have soccer, which the rest of the world calls football. So I understand it's confusing, but this article is about the Super Bowl, which is the final competition for football, American football. With that explanation, let me read our title, Super Bowl 2023 Halftime Show. The halftime show is the musical performance that takes place at halftime. So 50% into the game, they play for maybe an hour, and then they take a break from the game, and then they have the halftime show. So that's why it's called halftime, because it takes place in the middle of the Super Bowl. I wrote the definition for you here. Super Bowl 2023 halftime show. What to know about Rihanna's performance. So Rihanna is performing at the halftime show as Super Bowl 57. They're calling it Super Bowl 57 because this is the 57th Super Bowl. And of course, it's taking place in 2023. So let's continue on. Any casual Super Bowl viewer knows that the colossal event is as much about music. So the colossal event is, of course, the Super Bowl. That's the event. Now, colossal just means really, really big. If you didn't know, the Super Bowl is huge in America. It's extremely popular. So that's why they said colossal. Colossal means really, really, really big. Keep in mind that in this context, big isn't necessarily referring to the size of the game. It's referring to the popularity of the game. So really, really, really popular. Around the world, football, soccer is a colossal event. The World Cup is a colossal event. So they're saying that the Super Bowl, the colossal event, is as much about music and commercials as sports. So they're saying, of course, sports, the football is really important for the event. Obviously, that's the reason it exists. But the music is a very important part of the Super Bowl. A lot of people will watch the Super Bowl. They don't even like football. They watch it just for the music, the entertainment, and the halftime show. And they also watch it for the commercials. Because the Super Bowl is so popular, brands want their commercials displayed during the Super Bowl because millions and millions of people will be watching. So they'll watch that commercial. So these brands invest a lot of money into the commercials, and the commercials are usually very entertaining. They usually include a lot of Hollywood actors in the commercials or famous people in the commercials. So people will watch it for the music, the commercials, and the sports. So notice this sentence structure: as much about X as Y. This is a nice sentence structure. The sentence structure is as much about X as Y. So my example sentence is, I learned as much about football as English in this lesson. So this is something you could say. Now notice in this sentence structure, the topic of the lesson is English. So it is the Y, but something that you didn't expect to learn about, you include first, which would be X. So you probably didn't expect to learn about football, American football, when you started watching this lesson. You just wanted to learn about English, but you're also learning about football, American football. So try that as an example sentence in the comments to practice this structure. So let's continue on. In recent decades, the end of the NFL, NFL stands for National Football League. The NFL season has evolved into an all-day, all-night event. Let's talk about our verb evolve. This comes from the word evolution. So when something evolves, it changes or develops gradually, which means slowly. So to develop or change, I'll add change, gradually, which means slowly. So they're saying in the past, it was just about the sports, but then slowly they introduced music and it became more popular and more popular and more popular. So it changed or developed slowly, gradually. And now it's an all day, all night event. Notice that all day and all night are adjectives. They're describing the event. So let's compare these two sentences. I studied all day. This is just your time reference. I had an all day lesson. The time is exactly the same for both of these. All day would represent the entire day from 9 in the morning till 5 o'clock p.m., for example. But this grammatically is being used as an adjective, so it comes before your noun. This is a noun. But all day, we generally include this after our verb at the end of the clause, because it doesn't necessarily come after a verb, because you could say, I studied English at school all day. So we put it at the end of the entire clause. But here, as an adjective, it comes before the noun. Let's continue on with marquee artists. Marquee, this is an adjective. It simply means very popular or well known. So you could say she's a marquee singer. She's very popular and well known. And that would definitely be Rihanna, right? Popular, well known. And it's an adjective. With marquee artists like Rihanna and others taking the field, to take the field just means performing. Before kickoff, kickoff is how they start the game, and during halftime. So that means that artists will perform before the game starts, because kickoff is the start of the game. This is just specific vocabulary to the sport of football, which is why I'm saying you're also learning about football. But we can also use this in a more everyday context. You can say, let's kick off the meeting with a summary of the conference. So let's kick off in this sense. Kick off means start. It's a phrasal verb that means start. And that likely comes from this football vocabulary. So at the start of the game and during halftime, which is in the middle of the game. Let's continue on. You probably know that Rihanna is taking the stage. So again, before we heard taking the field is where they play football. This is the field. I believe they also use that in soccer, the same terminology, soccer field, football field. Taking the field, taking the stage, it just means performing at halftime. The game is being broadcast by Fox. So this is just where you can watch the game. Watch it on cable or free with an over-the-air antenna. I don't know what an over-the-air antenna is, to be honest. Pre-game festivities. Festivities are just any sort of activities specific to football. So that's a good term. Just any activities. So the festivities there could be some entertainment before, there could be some different foods you can eat, performances you can watch, all of those would be considered festivities. Maybe there's an area where you can take pictures wearing football equipment, funny pictures, so all of that would include festivities. You can have festivities before any event, before your birthday party, so any type of parties, weddings, even a conference, you can have festivities. And you could say, for example, the wedding starts at 5, but the festivities start at 3. So there'll be some activities organized for the guests before the wedding officially starts. All right. So the festivities start at 6 Eastern time, 3 Pacific time, with kickoff, so the official start of the game at 6:30. So they're only giving you 30 minutes for festivities, which isn't a lot. Okay, let's continue on. Considering that the halftime production, so the halftime production is Rihanna performing, that's the production. It runs between 12 and 15 minutes. This is the length of time that Rihanna has for her performance. So she'll be singing, dancing for 12 to 15 minutes. That's not a lot of time. Notice our verb here, to run. This is used specific with an event when you're talking about the time of an event. You can use this in a business context, like a conference. You could say the first presentation will run for 20 minutes. For example, the verb run is used specifically in a entertainment context or when there's a performance. So we can think of a presentation as a performance, which is why you can use the verb run. There is much to compress. So to compress is you take a lot of something and you compress it into a small amount. So they're talking about Rihanna's catalog. Her catalog is just her past songs. So all her past songs are her catalog. So in her 17-year career, notice here, 17-year, this is an adjective, which is why there is no S on year, because adjectives don't take plural forms, so we don't add an S there. Her 17-year career has spawned 14 number 1 songs. Spawn is a verb, to spawn, and it means to cause something new. So her career caused these 14 songs and 32 top 10 songs. Her career caused them to happen. That's the verb spawn. Here's an example sentence. Her success spawned many books. So her success caused many books to be written. Now, other people could have written about her success, for example. So her career spawned 14 number one songs and 32 top 10 songs. Top 10 is also an adjective. It's describing the popularity of the song. It's within the top 10 most popular songs. So she had 32 songs that were within that category of top 10 songs on the Billboard Hot 100. So medleys are a bet worth making. Okay, let's go back up here because they're saying that, remember, they're talking about the fact that the halftime show is only 12 to 15 minutes. Rihanna has many, many songs, but because of the compressed time, she may have to do some medleys. Medleys are when you take two or more songs and you combine them into one song. So she might sing just a part of one of her songs, Umbrella, for example, and then she'll sing the first 30 seconds and then she'll switch into another song and sing a little bit of that because fans want to hear more than just two songs, but in 12 minutes, you can probably only do two songs, right? So that's why she might do medleys. Now, are a bet worth making? When you make a bet, you're making a prediction that something will happen. I just Googled it, and the two teams competing at the Super Bowl are the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. Now remember, to make a bet, that is when you make a prediction about what will happen. I could say, I bet that the Eagles will win. Now, notice my verb tense here. I'm using the future simple because we use the future simple with predictions. And bet is a prediction. It's the exact same thing as saying, I predict that the Eagles will win. I bet that the Eagles will win. Predict sounds a little formal, like the literal definition, and bet sounds more natural. Now, you already know who won because remember, when I recorded this video, the game was in the future. So who won the Super Bowl? Share that in the comments. Was my prediction right? Was my bet right? Let's continue on. Even though she teamed with a pair of marquee names, remember, we already know that marquee means extremely popular. Marquee names in 2015 for 4 or 5 seconds. 4 or 5 seconds is the name of one of Rihanna's songs. And the marquee names, the very popular people that she teamed with, team is just when two or more people come together for a specific purpose. I'm sure that's obvious because we have sports team, right? And that's exactly what they do on a sports team. So those marquee names are Kanye West, obviously very popular, and Paul McCartney, again, very popular. So Kanye West is a marquee name, or Kanye West is a marquee singer. Because remember, marquee is just an adjective. Okay, it is beyond doubtful that either would appear. So they're saying that yes, she did team with these very popular people in the past, but they're not going to sing with her during the halftime show. Beyond doubtful just means more than doubtful. More than doubtful. So it sounds like you're just saying very doubtful. You're intensifying the amount of doubt. So again, using our prediction with I bet, you might say, I bet that Kanye West will sing with Rihanna. Now, of course, this probably wouldn't be a smart bet to make because it sounds like everybody's saying it won't happen, but this could be your prediction. But going back to her roots is a possibility. When you go back to your roots, it means you go back to where you originally started. So where did Rihanna originally start as a singer? I don't know. Maybe they'll say. Going back to her roots is a possibility, which would mean a Jay-Z sighting on Umbrella. Okay, this makes sense because Umbrella was Rihanna's first popular song, I believe. So that is her roots. Her roots, remember, is where she started. And she started with this song Umbrella, and Jay-Z was on the song Umbrella. So they're saying now it might be better to say, I bet that Jay-Z will sing with Rihanna. And that might be a bet worth making. It's worth making because it's likely to happen. Her 8 times platinum smash with the rapper from 2007. Jay-Z called her a generational talent in announcing her as the halftime performer. Okay, so Jay-Z was the one who announced that Rihanna will be performing at the halftime. And when he announced that, he referred to her as a generational talent. Generational means that Rihanna represents her entire generation. So that's a very nice thing to say. So clearly, respect is there. That means that Jay-Z respects Rihanna, and the evidence is that he called her a generational talent. And that might be even more evidence to suggest that he might sing with her at the halftime show. So, since this is in the past now, did Jay-Z sing with Rihanna? Did you watch it? Share that in the comments below. And that's the end of our article. So what I'll do now is I'll go back to the beginning and I'll read the entire article in full. And this time you can focus on my pronunciation and practice along with my pronunciation. Super Bowl 2023 halftime show. What to know about Rihanna's performance at Super Bowl 57. Any casual Super Bowl viewer knows that the colossal event is as much about music and commercials as sports. In recent decades, the end of the NFL season has evolved into an all-day, all-night event with marquee artists taking the field before kickoff and during halftime. You probably know that Rihanna is taking the stage at halftime. The game is being broadcast by Fox, watch on cable, or free with an over-the-air antenna. Pre-game festivities start at 6 Eastern Time, 3 Pacific Time, with kickoff at 6:30 Eastern Time, 3:30 Pacific Time. Considering that the halftime production runs between 12 and 15 minutes, there is much to compress from Rihanna's catalog. Her 17-year career has spanned 14 number 1 songs and 32 top 10 songs on the Billboard Hot 100, so medleys are a bet worth making. Even though she teamed with a pair of marquee names in 2015 for 4 or 5 seconds, that would be Kanye West and Paul McCartney, it is beyond doubtful that either would appear. But going back to her roots is a possibility, which would mean a Jay-Z sighting on Umbrella, her 8-time platinum smash with the rapper from 2007. Jay-Z called her a generational talent in announcing her as the halftime performer, so clearly respect is there. Amazing job with this lesson. Now you can look in the description below and you'll see a link where you can download the free lesson PDF that summarizes everything you learned in this lesson. And if you found this lesson helpful, please hit the like button, share it with your friends, and of course subscribe. And before you go, make sure you head on over to my website, JForrestEnglish.com, and download your free speaking guide. In this guide, I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. And until next time, happy studying.